because I didn't know what I was getting myself into when when I started restaurants, and it was a whole different world for me. So nowadays, I think the challenges are still the same. But I think the mentality is a little bit different.
Hey everybody, welcome to Cooks Who Cares Project Beyond the Table, where we sit down and talk to operators that you may not know a lot of details about, and we want to share those messages with you because there's a lot of important experiences that you would only know by just talking to them. So take a look at what we have going on here, the other shows that we've produced to kind of give you this connection piece to the people that are around you working their butts off. So how did you get your start in the industry?
Originally from New York, grew up out there, and then I wanted to get away. Sometimes when you live or grow up in an area, you're like in that bubble. So then I came out to Philadelphia, went to the restaurant school at Warner Hill College, and then without knowing anything about the food service industry or anything like that, then went to school, got my degree, and then I started working in various restaurants in Philadelphia. Started from the bottom, started as a dishwasher.
That's the traditional route.
That's the traditional route. Kitchen work is very team orientated, and I think it's up to everybody in the kitchen, like not if you're a chef, but if you're a cook and have more experience, and to really guide the younger people into like how to adapt into the professional environment. So nowadays, I think the challenges are still the same, but I think the mentality is a little bit different. You know, the mentality is like you have to be the best dishwasher you can be in order for you to move up and really understand like each aspect of the kitchen, especially if you're trying to be like a chef, executive chef and stuff like that, that you need to have like respect for all stations. I didn't really realize that until I was like further along. Like maybe the whole process would probably took maybe 10 to 12 years, like moving all the way up to make sure that you're fundamentally sound, like in your technique and your approach. And then after that, then you start being chef level.
Yeah. In what ways do you feel the industry has changed since your first job?
It's changed tremendously. Like when I first got into the industry, there wasn't technology as influential as it is or impacts our life today. There wasn't no Instagram, there wasn't Facebook, there wasn't internet. Cable was still getting more channels. Food Network wasn't really around, so working at the beginning, you don't realize how those changes affect you later on until they come part of our lives. Cell phones weren't that big, so it was more of like an internship, mentorship with like chefs and things like that. Now, the younger chefs, or they have more resources at their disposal than what we did, and we actually had to go to the chef that was doing the new things or being creative in that way. Where now everybody's linked together. You know what people are doing in Europe, West Coast. So it's more, it's different now.
We were essentially mentored in a completely different environment than it is today. And what's the solution? I don't know, but I think we need to keep talking about it as it is a completely different place.
It all depends on the individual and how, like their drive, their integrity, and not to be like what's the right word to say is...
I don't know, you tell me. But how do we get to this place where we can walk across the same bridge and, you know, bring mentorship back in a totally different way?
I think it's up to us though as chefs, most likely our generation, to really communicate and try to guide them. I was fortunate enough to work with some good chefs that like really, you know, took the time out to mentor me, to show me. But when you become a chef, there's more like administrative and business, and that's what helped me transition. You know, I've worked for bad restaurants, restaurants that closed, and I've worked for great restaurants that have been really busy and successful, and I think I've learned both ways, or taken lessons from each scenario and situation and adopted that into my business now. But I think going forward, I think it's up to us as chefs to really like reach out to these younger chefs and really teach them and mentor them, but it's not that many of us quality chefs out there that because they're already busy with their work schedules and running their own restaurants and businesses and things like that you know, it's hard to really take these kids and really develop them. Because I didn't know what I was getting myself into when when I started restaurants, and it was a whole different world for me. But it was something that I really took to, and I really like fell in love with the industry because of like high pressure. Yeah, the mistakes are going to be there. But if you have somebody, you know, by their hip, you know, it doesn't have to be the same person every day. But like somebody just guiding them and showing them, I think those resources are really helpful in the development of young chefs.
You know, whether I work in a retirement facility, or I work for people who are homeless, or I work for people in a restaurant we just do brunch, or what does it matter? It's all food. You know, we're all serving people. Why do you think there's this like divide in what is the food industry?
Well, I think the divide comes with the quality of work. Because there's some restaurants that buy like frozen stuff and buy pre-packaged stuff, and then you have other chefs on the other side of that are like making everything from scratch, making sure that the quality is there, that are not like what they call like hacks. You know, I think that's where the stigma comes in. The chefs that do quality work know each other, and they know the work that they're doing. They may not know them personally, but they know. Especially now, like I was saying, with social media and stuff like that, everybody can see who's doing like fresh stuff, quality products, trying to push the level forward. Not necessarily any particular type of cuisine, but just food in general. And then you have people that just want to like fry food. So I think it's more of a respect level, as far as people respecting the craft versus people that don't respect the craft. And I think that's where the divide comes in. I think the restaurant industry gave me the foundation and the fortitude, I think, to really take the step and take the jump into catering. And it's been unexpectedly positive. Yeah, great. Definitely. It's helped me working in the restaurants to transition to catering. And my opinion changed once I started doing catering. Like then I felt like I was still doing quality work, but in a catering aspect. And then I have more obstacles because I'm doing events at different areas that don't have kitchens and things like that I have to makeshift kitchens. One of my earliest mistakes was like my attitude coming in, because coming from the upbringing that I came, there was still like at-risk community, so there was like a mindset that I wasn't ready when I went into the workforce, and I wasn't maybe as receptive and open to like criticism, to guidance and things like that. So then I just try to rush to get to the chef level where I might have not been ready to take that chef level, you know. So I always tell people, enjoy the journey, you know. It's not about the end destination, it's about the path.
It is an emotional thing, it is, and sometimes it's just like, get over it, buck up, you know, but
that's my generation.
You know,
just throw some dirt on it and just keep moving. But no, on a serious note though, like it's about reassessing and always reflecting on whatever, like let's say mistakes you did or why it didn't go through, like, you know, and to be introspective and to look yourself in the mirror and be like, what could I do to be better or to do better, or to, you know, instead of blaming other people, I think you need to look towards your own self and see whatever the challenge is, assess it, make a determination, and then you move forward. It's easier said than done, because for me it takes a process. It's just like if something happens, or like, you know, life happens, I usually call it life, and then just try to assess it. It's, I try not to be like a super uber religious person, but whatever's meant to be will be. As long as you're doing it with integrity and honesty, and I think everything works itself out. Sometimes life has its own plan for you than you do, You have plans and you go after them, but things change. And you just be open and flexible.